إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So today I want to talk about something that Muhammad kind of talked about in last week's khutbah, but just expand on it a little bit. And that's about hardships in Islam and how we're supposed to react to them. Because throughout this semester we're going to face hardships, and it's a good reminder to keep so that we can go about the semester knowing things like this, inshallah. When we begin khutbahs, we hear something that every time, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. This reminds us that all the tests come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ultimately any test that comes from Allah, we need to try to look for the good in it, because we're to return to Allah. We need to stay obedient to our Creator, inshallah. For example, I was on my connecting flight here from New York, and then the plane took off, and then an hour later, the guy was like, we need to make an emergency landing, because I was about to be on ABC News with those planes that, they say like this plane has a problem, had to make an emergency landing. I was about to be on one of those clips. Alhamdulillah, we landed safely, and inshallah have a successful fifth semester after going through that. So our Prophet Muhammad tells us in a Sahih Hadith that every messenger who has come to his people has come to warn his people and guide them towards the good. So we're told that the Ummah will go through a blessed phase in calamities, and now we're in the phase where people begin to reject the message of Prophet Muhammad and the message of Islam. So this is a very scary time. The blessed phase of this back was when the Sahaba and at the Prophet's time, when even in a state of calamity, the Ummah was still in a state of glory, in a state of izzah. Now we're in a state where we see this around us, that people begin to reject faith and reject Islam, because when they're going through something, that why would Allah do this to me? Why would a loving God do this to me? Things like that. May Allah protect us from ever making these kinds, allowing these kinds of thoughts to cross our head. So we're told that fitnas will come upon us, and each time one comes, the people will say that this one will destroy me. And then the next one will come, we'll forget about the last one, we'll say that this one will destroy me. So Prophet also likened fitnas to like drops of rain. So you can stand outside with an umbrella, but at the end of the day, you're still going to get wet from at least one drop. So there's nothing you can do to avoid fitnas completely. So everyone's going to be struck with calamity. So we're told in Surah Al-Kabut in the very beginning that, do the people think that they'll be left to say that we believe and they'll not be tested? We have certainly tried those before them, and Allah will make sure evident who are the truthful and who are liars. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will judge justly among us, inshallah, that who is actually truthful when you say we believe, and who is just saying I'm Muslim, so Allah will give me Jannah. Allah has created me, so He will give me Jannah. So this world in itself is just a fitna. No one in this life gets through fully happy and gets through without some suffering. Allah tells us that money, family, kids, getting into medical school, progressing each semester, every single thing is a fitna for all of us. Fitna meaning trial. So may Allah grant us all ease and allow us to stay obedient to Him when we're faced with calamity. So everyone in this world is a fitna for each other. Women for men, children for parents are fitna for children, and so on. People, your classmates, your professors, everyone. So instead of asking why we're being tested, we should rather understand that life itself is a test and prepare as so. So main thing we need to do when we're faced with a fitna, even when we are not, in order to prepare for those, is to turn to Allah and dua and seek refuge from the fitna. So also something I want to add in here is we need to remember Allah because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, remember me in the good and I'll remember you in the bad. And the bad is when we need Allah most. So if we want to have the one who's going to help us, we need to remember Allah in the good times when things are all okay. When we're just in the comfort of our houses studying or in the library, what have you. That we need to make sure we're making our time to pray 5 times a day. So if from personal experience, all the way from fifth semester, first to fifth, I've been like praying maybe takes 40, 50 minutes out of your day, but it's never impeded on and in fact, it's probably even solidified memory even more. So we should never allow something to make us think that, I have too much to study, so I'm going to take Zuhr off, or astaghfirullah, may Allah protect us from ever letting these thoughts cross our heads, but we should never have thoughts like this. So I heard from Dr. Yasir Qadi that the Prophet ﷺ tells us in a hadith that worshipping Allah during times of fitna is the same thing as making hijrah to meet. So this is very beautiful, because back in the time of the Sahaba who were being persecuted in the Arabian Peninsula, they come to Medina under the leadership of the Prophet ﷺ, and they found tranquility and peace. When we're faced with calamity, we're usually pretty stressed. And we want to. What do we want to feel at that time? We want to feel tranquility. We want to feel this peace. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ tells us that turning to Allah in these times will allow us to, inshallah, get us that feeling. So I'll end the first half of the khutbah here, and I'll continue with the second half, inshallah. Astaghfirullah alladhi la ilaha illa huwal hayyul qayyum wa atubu ilayh. So we look around the world and we see such sad things happening. So one of the most important things that's going on right now is in the land of Kashmir. So may Allah remove these people of their hardships and allow them the justice and peace that they seek and deserve. So give a bit of backstory on the issue, because I don't know if people who aren't aware might not know how serious it is going on. But back when the partition happened between Pakistan and India, it was decided that Muslim majority lands would be given to Pakistan and Hindu majority lands would be given to India. The only exceptions to this was Kashmir and the lands of Jammu and areas like that, due to reasons that beyond what I'll discuss. But so the Muslims in this area had to live under occupation and lots of oppression from the Indian Army. It includes things like tear gas, pellet guns, things like that. Use of pellet guns has led to a lot of people dying and left a lot of people blinded as well. So the current Prime Minister of India is of a Hindu ideology that India is only a land for Hindus and no Muslims should live there. So we need to keep these people in our du'as, because with this new regime, the situation has gotten really bad. It's the same leader when he was ruling in Gujarat, which is a state of India. He oversaw the massacre of many Muslims in the area. It was so bad that even the US banned him from coming to the country because the murders that he oversaw. He was allowed into the country now because he's a leader of a country. I hate to get political in a khutbah, but I feel like I need to give backstory to raise some awareness on how serious that's going on. I'm definitely not saying anything against Hindus or Indians. MashaAllah, we know a lot of Hindus or Indians that are amazing people. We need to be aware of what's going on to our brothers and sisters around the world, and at least make dua for them at the very least, and understand that we're told that the ummah is like just one body. When one part aches, the entire body feels it. Because this is the way of the sunnah, to pray for people that you've never met. Make sure to feel like every Muslim is a part of you, and to be mindful of what's happening to every single Muslim around us, because this is the way of the sunnah. So another sad situation that's a test from Allah to all of us is the situation in Yemen. So this has been the largest humanitarian crisis recognized by the UN for far too long. Parents have had to offer to sell their kidneys just to make a living for their families. Just last month there was weather problems and flash flooding there that caused the deaths of even more people there. So we need to remember our brothers and sisters in our dua. These are tests from Allah to see if the ummah is awake. These are hardships and calamities that strike the ummah, and as we are told in the hadith I mentioned at the beginning of the khutbah from Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, that later on the ummah will be faced with calamities, and each calamity will make the previous one seem minute and will make people forget about them. So all the while these two things are going on, the situation in Palestine is still alive, and our brothers and sisters there are still suffering as well. Just this week, the Prime Minister of Israel has vowed to annex more parts of the West Bank. So back to this, how this ties into our lives, I want to go back to some reminders that Allah gives us, that these are tests from us, and there's good that will come out of them, and we need to have the trust in Allah as we go about life, understanding that we're going to be faced with calamities, as we're told in Surah Al-Kabut, but we need to be mindful of the fact that there's probably good, there inshallah be good to come out of all these. As we're told in Surah Inshira, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا, that with hardship comes ease, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it twice, that with hardship comes ease, with hardship comes ease. So we need to stay aware from that all trials and tribulations from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Allah tells us in Surah Al-Baqarah, لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا, Allah does not test any soul beyond what it can bear. Allah created us and knows what we're capable of handling, and we need to remember this and go about life, understanding that everything that comes from Allah is a test from us, and good will come out of it, inshallah. In a story in Surah Kahf, there's a poor family and Khidr destroys their boat. We listen to the surah, we recite the surah every Friday, but understanding is very important. So just put yourself in this family's shoes for a second. So imagine that this boat is your only means of living. This is all you have. What these people were not aware of was that there was an oppressive ruler at the time, and he would have taken the boat from them, leaving them with nothing. So Allah tested this family with breaking their boat to avoid this from happening. Now the ruler has no use for a broken boat, but the family can go back and just rebuild the boat and use it. So next time we're faced with a calamity, we need to make the means use the means that we're granted. The word tawakkul is something over here we're told a lot, and that's use the means that you're granted and make something out of it, and just trust in Allah and trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan. So may Allah make us of those who keep Surah Al-Kahf on our tongues and recite this, or at least listen to this beautiful surah on Friday. As we're told that whoever recites Surah Al-Kahf on Friday will have a light shed upon them from that Friday until the next Friday. So imagine doing this every single Friday. You can have a light shed on yourself for the rest of your life. So may Allah make this easy on us and allow us to do this. So memorizing the first 10 ayahs of this surah is a very rewarding thing to do, as it is with any part of the Quran, because anything that you memorize, inshallah, will go to the grave with you. So and also these 10 ayahs end with the dua, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً وَهَيِّئْ لَنَا مِنْ أَمْرِنَا رَشَدًا. Our Lord, grant us from yourself mercy and prepare for us the right guidance. So as I mentioned, the word tawakkul is something we hear people say a lot, and it's making use out of what you're granted, and to put your front foot forward and just work with the test that comes from Allah. Trust in Allah's plan, trust the test that's given to you, and make sure that you don't look at it as a bad thing, and just trust that something good will come out of it, inshallah, and that our hard work will pay off. So ask Allah to forgive us all. Ask Allah to grant us all patience and ease with the exams that remain for this semester. Ask Allah to make us of those who see trials and tribulations from Allah as a test, and give us the sabr in these times to wait for the good that will come. I ask Allah to make us all firm in our beliefs. I ask Allah to show you guys all next semester, inshallah, and grant me in success in whatever comes next. I ask Allah to allow us all to be able to remain consistent with our deeds. I ask Allah to help the people of Yemen, Kashmir, Libya, everywhere that our brothers and sisters are suffering. I ask Allah to grant them ease and patience. I ask Allah to grant help to our families and entire ummah, and remove everyone from their difficulties. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي والمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. وأقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا حسنا ماكثين فيه أبدا وينذر الذين قالوا اتخذ الله ولدا ما لهم به من علم ولا لآبائهم كبرت كلمة تخرج من أفواههم إن يقولون إلا كذبا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين
آمين.
فلعلك باقي نفسك على آثارهم إن لم يؤمنوا بهذا الحديث أسفا إنا جعلنا ما على الأرض زينة لها لنبلوهم أيهم أحسن عملا وإنا لجائلون ما على الأرض وإنا جعلنا ما على سعيدا جرزا أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا إذ أوى الفتية إلى الكهف فقالوا ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.